Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavas Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavas Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavas Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavas Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavas Pranam. Pawan Prabhu, you started recording?
Yes, Prabhu.
Why it's not showing up?
It's there on the left-hand side, live YouTube.
Okay. Just a second. Share screen. Okay, so can you just give me like 2-3 minutes? 2-3 minutes, I'll come back. Huh? Thank you.
Hare Hare.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, I'm back. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadadi Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sakitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Haripriye Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Tesatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Welcome all to today's Chaitanya Charitamrita. So today's class is going to be a very, a technical class, and you should pay attention to really understand the intricacies of the message now. So this portion of the class is where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually confronting the Mayavadis. Now, the confront is not about, okay, I'll fight with you, you'll fight with me, let's heads on. No, it's not about that. You should actually see the art of dealing with people who are having indifferent views towards God and God's creation. So you'll see in this chapter, starting from the 61st verse, how Mahaprabhu chastised these Mayavadis. Okay, so pay attention to detail and ask all relevant questions. You don't need to be hesitating. Any question is a good question. Ask those relevant questions so that you can learn the subject nicely. Okay? Good. Shall we start?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so now we'll see 7.61. This first sloka I will read. Prabhave akarshila shaba sanyasi mana uttila sanyasi sabha chadiyasana. When the sanya, okay, now what is the pretext? The pretext, let's recap once again so that we are very clear. So Mahaprabhu came to Varanasi, and then from there at the bank of the Ganges, he took Sanatana Goswami and started to preach, give instruction. And based on the instruction, Sanatana Goswami wrote the most famous Hari Bhakta Vilas. Okay. Hari Bhakti Vilas is not for devotees because Prabhupada said, if you read Hari Bhakti Vilas, you'll focus so much about rules and regulations, right and wrong, then you'll miss the bus. What's a miss the bus? Krishna consciousness. Stapitam yena bhutale. That will, you will miss that point. Okay. At that time, Mahaprabhu was staying in this house of Chandrasekhar Acharya, and there was another great devotee called Tapan Mishra. So these two devotees came one day running to the place where Mahaprabhu was instructing Sanatana Goswami. And they were running, they came, they expressed their agony, they cried, they said, Mahaprabhu, people here misbehave, they chastise you, they talk about you like this. Please help, please come talk to them. Something like that, right? So Mahaprabhu's description is that devotees need to know the philosophy. Devotees need to know the right slokas to argue. Even if they're not mug up, they can take the relevant books. So that way what happens, you are able to have a constructive argument with someone else and help him understand the reality of what is God and God worship and etc. So if you are not able to do, if you're not able to even defend your own thing, then Shastra says you are a Kanishtadikari. So Mahaprabhu said, he chastised them saying that, yeah, you are a Kanishtadikari. At that time, Mahaprabhu, by his internal potency, manifest a realized Brahmana to come at the scene. So on this Brahmana, through this Brahmana, Mahaprabhu organized this particular meeting. So this Brahmana, what he did, he invited all these Mayavadi sannyasis to his house for lunch, dinner, whatever it may be. Vaishnava Sangha. Then to that place, Mahaprabhu was also invited. So now, this is an arrangement made by Mahaprabhu in order to counteract Mayavadis. So Mahaprabhu does not barge into a session of Mayavadis in their own place and then try to prove Mayavadi is wrong, Vishishtadvaitam is correct. So like that he did not do. Because if you go head on with someone, it is just a clash of the false ego. Even though you are right, the opponent party will not accept you. He'll just argue, Vidanda Vada. He'll just argue for the sake of argument, just to prove his false ego. So Mahaprabhu knows this well. So hence Mahaprabhu is taking a different approach where accidentally in this place Mahaprabhu is present. That's how he's showing there. And then what he did, when he entered the house, he went, washed his feet. He's showing, hey, Look how sannyasis need to be. Characteristics, Vaishnava etiquette of sannyasis. Then after that, what Mahaprabhu did? He sat down at the same place where people wash their feet. So to tell, I'm lower than any of you. Unless I'm permitted, I will not enter the place inside. So, you see, he's demonstrating humility. And third is Mahaprabhu, as a plan, he increased the effulgence of his body. That Mahaprabhu was already golden in nature, color. By just increasing the effulgence of the body, he looked very attractive. Right? So on one side, Mahaprabhu is showing humility, he's attracting the mercy. Secondly, he's also adding the effulgence, and then he's causing attraction for other members, other sannyasis in the arena, in that house, to get connected with Mahaprabhu. Okay, these are all tall leaders, tall leaders in the Mayavada community. Now, one thing that you have to consider is, these leaders are seeing that one fact: Mahaprabhu took sannyasi initiation from a Mayavadi. Right? So they are concluding that he is also the same cult, the same type of Vaishnava sannyasi. Hence, they are criticizing him. They're criticizing him that as a sannyasi, you can't do this. Can't do this. So now, objective of Mahaprabhu is very clear. So this sloka, you'll see that explanation. When the sannyasi saw the brilliant illumination of the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their minds were attracted and they all immediately gave up their sitting places and stood up in respect. Now see, these devotees who were chastising Mahaprabhu, finding fault with his activities, now they're getting up as a mark of respect for Mahaprabhu. See, that's a change of heart. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. To draw the attention of common men, sometimes saintly acharyas and teachers exhibit extraordinary opulence. This is necessary to attract the attention of fools. But a saintly person should not misuse such power for personal sense gratification, like false saints who declare themselves to be God. Even a magician can exhibit extraordinary feats that are not understandable to common men. But this does not mean that the magician is God. This is a very important statement. Replace the word magician with like yogis, other popular personalities, economically stronger personalities, political personalities. Yeah, they may do bewildering acts, but they are not God. They are subject to the tribulations of the material world. They will go through Janma, Mritu, Jara, Vyadhi. That's the point to conclude here. So hence, it is a most sinful activity to attract attention by exhibiting mystic power and then utilize this opportunity to declare oneself to be God. So, as you practice devotional life, as you practice chanting, as you practice all other aspects of devotional life, you will see slowly your mystic potency goes up. Unaware of you, your mystic potency goes up. Now, a mystic potency, when it goes up, you cannot misuse that for your sense gratification, nor being careless about it. Right? That's the point to understand here. A real saintly person never declares himself to be God, but always places himself in the position of a servant of God. For a servant of God, there is no need to exhibit mystic powers, and he does not like to do so. But on behalf of Supreme Personality of Godhead, a humble servant of God performs his activities in such a wonderful way that no common man can dare try to like it. Yet a saintly person never takes credit for such actions because he knows very well that when wonderful things are done on his behalf, by the grace of Supreme Lord, all credit goes to the master and not to the servant. Now, let's say, I'll give an example about, we had a scientist president, right? Dr. Abdul Kalam. So there's a true story about this. So once when Abdul Kalam was honored for whatever work he's done, he said, this honor doesn't belong to me, but it belongs to the person who mentored me and guided me. And he gave that honor to his director. Why? Because if the director is an Excalibur, then the people whom he is training, he'll be X plus Y caliber. That's the point he was trying to prove. So, great personalities. He says, hey, all credit goes to my master because it is because of him, not because of me. Right? So that's the point that's been addressed here. So here, Mahaprabhu is trying to attract the hearts of the living entities so that there can be a useful conversation between these two parties, and Mahaprabhu is able to deliver that message. So then they will be able to think. Otherwise, they will not think. The false ego will become so tall and powerful that it will never allow the mind to concede. That's exactly what Mahaprabhu is working on. Is the stage clear now to understand the subject?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Very good. So now let's go. We will read about 10 slokas in one shot. Then we'll see the entire subject matter. Then again, we'll read 10 more. Like that, we'll read. Okay? Yeah, 7.62.
7.62. Prakashananda name sarva sannyasi pradhana Prabhu ke kailari ichu kariya samana. The leader of all Mayavadi sannyasis present was named Prakashananda Saraswati. And after standing up, he addressed Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as follows with great respect. Purport. As Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed respect to all Mayavadi sannyasis, similarly the leader of Mayavadi
Sannyasis,
Prakashananda also showed his respects to the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. 63. Put yourself that you are in the house of that Brahmana now. Okay? Visualize center picture. Yes, 63.
Hare Krishna. Text 7.63. Ihan Aisa Suna Hashripada Apavitra Stane Vaisa Kiba Avasada. Please come here, Your Holiness. Why do you sit in that unclean place? What has caused your lamentation? Purport. Here is the distinction between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Prakashananda Saraswati. In the material world, everyone wants to introduce himself as very important and great, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced himself very humbly and meekly. The Mayavadis were sitting in an exalted position, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat in a place that was not even clean. Therefore, the Mayavadi sannyasis thought that he must have been aggrieved for some reason, and Prakashananda Saraswati inquired about the cause for his lamentation. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
See, now he's attracting the minds to ask a question. Okay, 64. 64.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Text 64. Prabhu kahe amiha ihina sampradaya toma sabara sabaya pasitena yuyaya. The Lord replied, I belong to lower order of sannyasis. Therefore, I do not deserve to sit with you. Purport. Mayavadi sannyasis are always very puffed up because of their knowledge of Sanskrit and because they belong to the Shankara Sampradaya. They are always under the impression that unless one is a Brahmana and a very good Sanskrit scholar, especially in grammar, one cannot accept the renounced order of life or become a preacher. Mayavadi sannyasis always misinterpret all the Shastras with their word jugglery and grammatical compositions. Yet, Sripada Shankaracharya himself condemned such jugglery of words. In the verse, Prapte Sanhite Kale Nahi Nahi Rakshati
Dukkarna.
What is this?
Dukkarna.
Dukrin Karane
Karane.
Karane. Dukrin refers to suffixes and prefixes in Sanskrit grammar. Shankaracharya warned his disciples that if they concerned themselves only with the principles of grammar, not worshipping Govinda, they were fools who would never be saved. Yet, in spite of Sripada Shankaracharya's instructions, foolish Mayavadi sannyasis are always busy juggling words on the basis of strict Sanskrit grammar. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Mataji, someone is there.
Oh, yes. Hare Krishna. Mayavadi sannyasis are very puffed up if they hold the elevated sannyasa title Tirtha, Ashrama, or Saraswati. Even among Mayavadis, those who belong to other sampradayas and hold other titles such as Vana, Aranya, or Bharati are considered to be lower grade sannyasis. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyasa from the Bharati Sampradaya, and thus he considered himself a lower sannyasi than Prakashananda Saraswati. To remain distinct from Vaishnava sannyasis, the sannyasis of the Mayavadi Sampradaya always think themselves to be situated in a very much elevated spiritual order. But Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in order to teach them how to become humble and meek, accepted himself as belonging to a lower sampradaya of sannyasis. Thus, he wanted to point out clearly that a sannyasi is one who is advanced in spiritual knowledge. One who is advanced in spiritual knowledge should be accepted as occupying a better position than those who lack such knowledge. The
Mataji, pause. Are you able to follow so far?
Yes, Prabhu.
Others?
Something I was able to.
Okay. Okay, now read Mataji. Mayavadi Sampradaya.
The Mayavadi Sampradaya sannyasis are generally known as Vedantis, as if Vedanta were their monopoly. Actually, however, Vedanti refers to a person who perfectly knows Krishna. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 15.15, Vedaischa sarvairaham ahameva vedya. By all the Vedas, it is Krishna who is to be known. The so-called Mayavadi Vedantis do not know who Krishna is. Therefore, the title of Vedanti or knower of Vedanta philosophy is simply a pretension. Mayavadi sannyasis always think of themselves as real sannyasis and consider sannyasis of the Vaishnava order to be brahmacharis. A brahmachari is supposed to engage in the service of sannyasi and accept him as his guru. Mayavadi sannyasis therefore declare themselves to be not only gurus but Jagat Gurus, or the spiritual masters of the entire world. Although, of course, they cannot see the entire world. Sometimes they dress gorgeously and travel on the backs of elephants in processions, and thus they are always puffed up, accepting themselves as Jagat Gurus. Srila Rupa Goswami, however, has explained that Jagat Guru perfectly refers to one properly refers to one who is the controller of his tongue, mind, words, belly, genitals, and anger. Prithvim sa shishya, such a Jagat Guru is completely fit to make disciples all over the world. Due to false prestige, Mayavadi sannyasis who do not have these qualifications sometimes harass and blaspheme a Vaishnava sannyasi who humbly engages in the service of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Do we pause here or read further?
You can read further, Prabhu.
So you're able to understand, no? What's been explained?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, good. 65?
65 shall I read, Prabhu?
Read.
अपने प्रकाशानंद हाथे ते धरिया वसील सभा मध्य सामना करिया. Translation. Prakashananda Saraswati, however, caught Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally by the hand and seated him with great respect in the midst of the assembly. Purport. The respectful behavior of Prakashananda Saraswati towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very much to be appreciated. Such behavior is calculated to be Agnata Sukruti or pious activities that one executes unknowingly. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very tactfully gave Prakashananda Saraswati an opportunity to advance in Agnana Sukruti so that in the future he might actually become a Vaishnava sannyas.
Okay. Hari. Okay. See. Touching the Lord, Mahaprabhu so mercifully gave the opportunity to Prakash and Saraswati. Okay. 766. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hmm.
Carry on, Mataji, please.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, text 7.66. Uchila Tomara Nama Sri Krishna Chaitanya Keshava Bharatira Sishya Tate Tumi Danya. Prakashananda Saraswati then said, I understand that your name is Sri Krishna Chaitanya. You are a disciple of Sri Keshava Bharati and therefore you are glorious. Hare Krishna.
Okay, 67.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Text 67. Sampradayika sannyasi tumi raha yehi grame ki karane ama sabara nakara darshane. Translation. You belong to our Shankara Sampradaya and live in our village, Varanasi. Why then do you not associate with us? Why is it that you avoid even seeing us? Purport.
That's a question now. This Mayavadis are asking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially Prakashananda Saraswati. Okay.
Purport. A Vaishnava sannyasi or a Vaishnava in the second stage of advancement in spiritual knowledge can understand four principles, namely the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotees, the innocent, and the jealous, and he behaves differently with each. He tries to increase his love for Godhead, make friendship with devotees, and preach Krishna consciousness among the innocent, but he avoids the jealous who are envious of the Krishna consciousness movement. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself exemplified such behavior, and this is why Prakashananda Saraswati inquired why he did not associate or even talk with them. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed by example that a preacher of the Krishna consciousness movement generally should not waste his time talking with Mayavadi sannyasis, but when there are arguments on the basis of Shastra, a Vaishnava must come forward to talk and defeat them in philosophy. According to Mayavadi sannyasis, only one who takes sannyasi in the disciplic succession from Shankaracharya is a Vedic sannyasi. Sometimes it is challenged that the sannyasis who are preaching in the Krishna consciousness movement are not genuine because they do not belong to Brahmana families. For Mayavadis do not offer sannyasa to one who does not belong to a Brahmana family by birth. Unfortunately, however, they do not know that at present everyone is born a Shudra, Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha. It is to be understood that there are no Brahmanas in this age because those who claim to be Brahmanas simply on the basis of birthright do not have the Brahminical qualifications. However, even if one is born in a non-Brahmana family, if he has the Brahminical qualifications, he should be accepted as a Brahmana as confirmed by Srila Narada Muni and the great saint Sridhara Swami. This is also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Both Narada and Sridhara Swami completely agree that one cannot be a Brahmana by birthright, but must possess the qualities of a Brahmana. Thus, in our Krishna consciousness movement, we never offer the sannyasa order to a person whom we do not find to be qualified in terms of the prescribed Brahminical principles. Although it is a fact that unless one is a Brahmana, he cannot become a sannyasi, it is not a valid principle that an unqualified man who is born in a Brahmana family is a Brahmana, whereas a Brahmanically qualified person born in a non-Brahmana family cannot be accepted. The Krishna consciousness movement strictly follows the injunctions of Srimad Bhagavatam, avoiding misleading hearsay and manufactured conclusions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So, okay, so we came here, right? 62. Okay, so in the first sloka, what's happening in 62? Who can speak? In 62, what is happening? Hare Krishna, no one wants to speak?
Prabhu, both the Mayavadis and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed the respects to each other.
No. Mayavadi showed respect to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
No, Prakashananda also showed his respects to the Lord. No?
Okay. Prakashananda also showed. Okay, correct.
He is the leader of the Mayavadis.
Okay, good. Okay, 63. What is the essence of 63?
Here, Prakashananda Saraswati is asking, Lord, why are you going and sitting in a place which is not clean? Because these Mayavadis are all sitting in a place where it is highly polished, Prabhu. So, Prakashananda Saraswati is trying to ask, why are you in grief? That is why are you sitting in that place, Prabhu?
Yeah. So now, why is that statement coming out very clear? So let's say someone is in grief, someone is suffering, someone is crying. You start to show compassion. Oh, hey, how can I help you? Why don't you stop crying? How can I help you to come out of your difficulty? You become compassionate, right? You melt down. You see that happens even in today's world. So similarly, Mahaprabhu wanted to enact that, and hence, they're asking you, what's the cause of your lamentation? Are you suffering? Are you, what are maybe the reasons? Is this the reason that you're struggling? What is the problem? So they're inquiring. Inquiry means they're ready to offer help. That's the whole point. Okay, good.
And also they are telling that in this Kali Yuga, there is no...
No, not in the current sloka. Okay. 64. So the question is, what is your concern? Why are you lamenting? That is the question. Who's asking?
Prakashananda
Prakashananda
is asking Chaitanya.
He is who? Who's Prakashananda Saraswati?
He's the head of the Mayavadi.
Head of the Mayavadi community in Varanasi. Okay, good. So now let's talk about 64.
So in 64, Lord Chaitanya...
Lord is responding back now, correct?
Yes. He says, humbly says that I belong to a very lower order of sannyasi. So that I am sitting here. So he's showing his humility, Prabhu. And the purport, Srila Prabhupada is telling that all these Mayavadis are very much puffed up because they think they belong to the real Brahmana community and they are masters of Sanskrit grammar. And even though their master Shankaracharya says that they should not do like that. And they should
what does he say? He said, worship Govinda is the highest. So don't get involved into these small things.
Small things.
Yeah. Then?
Even then they are puffed up. So.
Okay. So what is the cause of these Mayavadi sannyasis being puffed up?
Because they don't know the meaning of, they think themselves Vedantis, Prabhu, but they don't know about Krishna and they do not worship about Krishna. So they think they are very great.
First of all, they belong to Brahmana community. The Mayavadi sannyasis, they think that Brahmanas are the highest order and they are eligible to receive the highest knowledge, Vedic knowledge.
Okay.
They are puffed up with their knowledge.
Mayavadi sannyasis actually they are still continuing to practice this materialistic activity.
Okay, so in the context, you see, the Lord is replying, I belong to lower order of sannyasis. So now Prabhupada is trying to give, there are many levels of sannyasis. And in that, for example, the next sloka, he says, in the next part of he says, the Prakashananda, this Keshav Bharati, the Bharati Sampradaya is considered to be a lower Sampradaya. So hence, I'm taking a lower position compared to you because you are in the Prakashananda service is considered to be the highest. You are in the highest order. Right? So he is winning their compassion. Is it clear? Okay. Now, what is the issue of this Mayavadi sannyasis? What do they think about sannyasam in their thought process?
Prabhu, they think studying the Vedic literature and meditating is more important than chanting and dancing, Prabhu.
Chanting and dancing or doing devotion service. Right? So for them, sitting and keep on reading Shastra. Read Shastra, unlimitedly. And for them, that is the key. So they would say that is what will take you back home or take you get liberated or whatever. Okay, good. Then what else? The Mayavadi sannyasis, because they are very puffed up with knowledge, they want to be called as Jagat Guru. That means they are the ruler of the entire world. So like that, they position themselves. Right? So you see what Prabhupada did. How he also acted, breaking the plans and activities of the Mayavadi sannyasis. Okay, good. Then what else is?
So he
The
says,
Mayavadi sannyasis, they think the Vaishnava sannyasis are lower in cadre. Why? They're sentimentalists. Huh?
No, because in Vaishnava Sampradaya, I mean, even the lowest category people, they also can be elevated to the sannyasi level by respect of their acharan and knowledge.
No, I didn't get it, Mataji.
No,
Prabhu, shall I tell Prabhu?
One second, let her complete, then you start, Prabhuji. Yes, Mataji.
No, Prabhu. In the Vaishnava Sampradaya, not so much importance is given to only the Brahmanas can be elevated to the position of sannyasis. Even the other
with
cadre of
Brahminical
people.
quality.
So that is the reason why even Mayavadi sannyasis, they do not respect this Sampradaya. Caitanya Mahaprabhu.
No, instead of saying respecting, they think it's very low. Okay. Yes, Balaji Prabhu, you had some point.
Prabhu, in the next sloka, it is said that these Mayavadis, they do not offer sannyasi to a person who is not Brahmana by birth.
Who does not come from a Brahminical family. Correct.
But it is Narada Muni and Sridhar Swami in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is confirmed by Narada Muni and Sridhar Swami that a Brahmana is not a Brahmana by birth, but due to his qualifications, he may be called a Brahmana, Prabhu.
No, by practice, he becomes the eligibility of a Brahmana.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so far, good. Okay, now what did he say in 65? Who can answer? 7.65. Who can answer this?
Prakashananda Saraswati calls him and makes him see, but he relates that you also belong to, come to Kashi means Varanasi. That means you come to our village. So you become one of them. Please sit here. That is how he relates.
Okay. Now there's an important point in this relation. See, even though Prakashananda Saraswati is considered to be the highest order of sannyasi among the Mayavadis, for him to come bend down to go to a lower sannyasi like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the current context of understanding is something that will never happen. But here, look at it. Prakashananda Saraswati says he caught hold of the hand of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and personally invited him, then made him sit. You see the difference? You live in an understand situation?
That's like Adnaita Sukriti here. Prakashana Saraswati. So eventually he becomes Vaishnava sannyasi. You know,
Yeah. So that shows, how the Lord attracts. Lord, by his potency, he attracted Prakashana Saraswati, that he behaved like this. Right? Okay, good. 66. Who can explain 66?
66 in purport, Prabhupada is giving another dimension of how Kanishta, Uttama and Madhyamadhikari will behave in terms of behavior with these four devotees, innocent and jealous people. How they behave.
Which sloka are you referring to? 67 or 66?
Oh, sorry, Prabhu, I was referring to 67. Sorry, I jumped off.
66.
Prakashananda Saraswati is telling that even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a disciple of a Mayavadi sannyasi only.
Bharati, Keshav
So
Bharati.
therefore he, Keshav Bharati. So therefore he is also glorious.
Glorious. Okay. Now, why is he saying that? He's saying that, okay, now he's come to my side. It's a matter of time. He's also joined this bandwagon. Right? So he's glorifying him. Right? Caitanya agenda. Okay, good. 67. What is basic Shankara philosophy? Let's discuss that. What does Shankaracharya tell in general? We will not go deep.
Advaitam.
Advaitam. Everything will become Ekam. Correct? So what we see as individual variety is illusion, because we will merge, blend with the Supreme. Okay. We said that, but what he did, he instituted the installation of many deities and did prana pratishtha to them. From South India till North India, he did that. He also wrote the greatest Bhaja Govindam. Now, look at the contrast. Mayavadi sannyasis, they spend their entire life reading Shastras, mastering Sanskrit, and that's how they consider them to be elevated and topmost. Right? Now, what did Shankaracharya write? He said, hey, old man, don't waste your time learning Sanskrit, because anyway you will die. When you die, the Sanskrit won't come and help you. Who's going to come and help you? Govinda is going to help you. So, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Mudamate. So, you see that he was composing this song by telling, don't read the Sanskrit. That's not going to help you. Govinda is the one who help you. So, chant the name of Lord Govinda. Now, what happened to the next generation of people? They did not take the instruction of their leader Acharya in the right manner and mood, and they completely drifted in the wrong direction. Right? So you see, this is Shankara philosophy. Shankara philosophy is also wrongly interpreted, and that's the whole cause of the problem. Okay. In this, what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? In this sloka 767.
Prakashananda Saraswati is saying 67.
Well, what does he say?
Why, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is avoiding them and not mingling with them.
Okay, now
though he belongs to the same category, though he considers Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also belongs to their category.
So now you see, already he is fully attracted to Mahaprabhu. That's why he's inquiring all these finer aspects. Okay. Now, any other points that are being discussed here? These things we already discussed. What is written in the subject matter. Okay.
So, one more point. Apart from Bhaja Govindam, he has written our own Jagannath Ashtakam also.
Yes, he's written that.
So doubly or triply he is telling. So somehow his disciples didn't take that.
So Prabhupada said that the ISKCON movement, the Krishna conscious movement, is the mission of the ISKCON movement is to make first-class Brahmanas. That's what Prabhupada said. Now, currently we are all fallen fully, either not following the four regulative principles, no calling out the name of Lord into sense enjoyment and sense gratification. right? So that's what we are into now. So what did Prabhupada did? He came and he handpicked from this dirt and made them into lotus. He made wonderful devotees out of this, right? So that is the difference, and that you need to understand. So all of us are Mlechas, Chandalas, or Sudras. By the mercy of the Acharya, we are actually becoming higher and higher in standards like a Brahmanical guru. And that's the whole point that you need to understand here. So not by birth, we will be able to practice devotion or chant the holy name or do anything. It is the credit that we carry forward from our previous birth will make us to practice these Shastric details. Okay, so for clear?
Prabhu, this thing I have, Prabhu. Like, if we come across a Mayavadi philosopher like these people, it will be difficult for us to defend, no, Prabhu. How Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his illumination, all that is not possible in us. And defending also will become very difficult, no, for us, for a person like me and all, no, Prabhu.
So what's your question?
If
this is practically not possible, you're saying?
Because I won't be able to convince him at all, no, Prabhu.
We have to be strong in the philosophy, Prabhu.
Yeah, okay. Now let's talk about two dimensions of this problem. Okay. The first problem, let's say you're strong in philosophy. Now, when someone is trying to teach you a wrong philosophy, you will be able to distinguish and understand, yes, this is not acceptable, this is the right thing to do.
Yes, Prabhu.
So, first thing is does that. Second, stronger and greater the philosophical understanding, the greater the depth of bhakti you will have. Otherwise, you will not have that bhakti. Right? So, how to understand this? So, for example, when you see Lord Jagannath, the image of Lord Jagannath, you observe that you will see one ring of reddish color. Okay?
Yes.
There will be around one red color ring or something like that.
Around the eyes, Prabhu.
Around the eyes, correct.
Eyes and lips also.
Okay, now only the eyes. So now that sometimes what happens, the reddishness may increase very intensely and then spread around the entire eye, or it may be a little bit. So if you see this, what's the meaning of this? The greater the reddishness, the Lord declares that the greater his mercy on living entities. He is very pleased.
Okay, Prabhu.
Now, you consider this as an aspect of knowledge.
Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
So now when you see something like this, rather than thinking, oh, the Lord is crying, he is very angry, he is worried about me, you see the meaning is completely topsy-turvy. You get the point?
Yes, Prabhu.
So how did you come to this point? Because of knowledge.
Knowledge.
So when the knowledge is good enough, you will not be misled by anyone. That's the first point that you have to understand.
Okay.
Second, when your knowledge is pretty good, you will start applying various dimensions of bhakti, and then you will see your bhakti, your connect with the Supreme Lord will be phenomenal.
Okay.
So knowledge is power. The knowledge removes sentiment out of your heart and then bring you onto practical aspect of practicing, performing bhakti yoga process.
Okay.
So this is the very, very important aspect that you need to understand.
Okay. So then this is how I'll be defending that opposite person, Mayavadi person. Through my...
For yourself.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I think Kameshwari Mataji had a question.
No, Prabhu. I was telling we have to be strong in philosophy. She was asking now how we can defend ourselves.
Yeah. So you're not carried away or you're not taken out into a new dimension of thought process. Otherwise, what will happen? your bhakti to Krishna should be steady state. The steady state will get completely deviated. You will see so many people living ISKCON, so many people doing all sorts of nonsensical things. You'll see all those things because of this one problem. Okay. So now let's read 68. Huh? So
Prabhuji,
now, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. A Vaishnava has progressed than a Brahmana. Can we consider like that too?
Yeah. So in Brahmana and Vaishnava, the difference is very simple. A Brahmana is well versed with the knowledge. He would have read Bhagavad Gita, he would have read Bhagavatam, other scriptural injunction, maybe Vedas and all these things. He must have read everything pakka. That's the rules of Brahmana. So when you call a Brahmana to perform a yajna or something, he will chant the mantras like anything. No doubt about it. Okay? That is Brahmana. So Brahmana doesn't get that much faith on the Lord. He does all these things in a mechanical, mundane manner. Vaishnava's case, he has immense faith, and that faith over a period of time converts into, pure, unalloyed love for the Lord.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so this is very important between a Brahmana and a Vaishnava. So Brahmana continues to remain on the platform of rules and regulation. A Vaishnava goes to higher and higher platform of love for God and do actions that actually pleases the Lord. Right? So let's take an example now. Okay, this is a brilliant example. We'll take this example. Okay, so I'll ask you a question. Please answer. What is karma?
Activity.
Karma is
activity or action.
Yes, Prabhu.
So what is this action? Shastra says it is prescribed action, prescribed duty, prescribed action. Okay. Now in this context, if karma is prescribed duties or prescribed action, then what should be akarma?
Higher action.
Oh, akarma, opposite of karma.
No action.
Not doing no action.
Or no action or not doing his prescribed duties. So you see, akarma is telling, the akarma means it is telling that you are not doing your prescribed duties, just like how Krishna chastised Arjuna, you're not doing your prescribed duties. And what you're committing is a sinful action. How can you deviate from not doing your duty? So you see, in one context, akarma means, one who does not even do his duty. So akarma is wrong.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Let me complete.
Yes.
In another context, akarma means that, no, I will do my duty, but the duty will not carry a fruitive result for myself. I'm completely detached out of that fruitive result. See, an action will carry a reaction, but here an akarma means an action that will carry no reaction. So it means what? There is someone who takes away the fruitive benefit of that action and leave you completely free of bondage to this material world. So you see, akarma contextually changes the meaning between chapter 2 and chapter 4. Okay, now how does this come? Proper understanding of the knowledge. Otherwise, you'll always conclude akarma is something good. Not doing his duty is also akarma. That means he's shying away from his prescribed duty. So you see power of knowledge. Harival?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, now, Ashokatma Prabhu, you had a question.
Prabhu, I got clarification.
You got clarified. Okay, good. So, you see how knowledge helps. Now, let's take example of our Bhoga. Okay. So, one day, one devotee was offering Bhoga to the Lord. Okay. He had made about, he or she, both, they made about 6-7 items. Of course, there was one main item, and then there were 5-6 small items, and they were offering to the Lord. Now, in the offering, what they did, they kept all items equal quantity, including pickle. That means if rice was 1 katori, the pickle was also 1 katori. Yeah, the sambar was 1 katori, the sweet was also 1 katori. So this is how they offered to the Lord. Okay, brilliant. And they offered with a lot of love. So that means you see, now there is enthusiasm, there is love to perform devotion activities, and they're doing it. The Lord is reciprocating, they're enjoying it. But is there a mistake in this? There is a mistake. What's the mistake? The mistake is, I'm asking this Mataji a question. Mataji, this plate, after you offer to the Lord, when it comes back, we will not mix it with other bhoga or anything. I will directly serve you on a plate. Will you eat, Mataji? She first said, yeah, I'll eat it. This Raj bhog, this that bhog, this bhog. She said, no, Raj bhog, all those things are fine. Can you look at these ingredients and tell me that you will eat this?
Quantities are not in the right proportion.
Not in the right proportion. How can you eat 1 katori of pickle with 1 katori of rice? It's not possible to eat. So that means, even though you have an enthusiasm to serve the Lord, you don't have the proper methods and procedure to serve the Lord. Oh, then she realized, oh, Prabhu, I didn't realize this. So what am I doing, Prabhu? What should I do? He said, you should serve the Lord exactly how you will eat. That means the main content of the food, the rice, must be larger in quantity. Pickle must be smaller in quantity. This must be medium in quantity. This must be large in quantity. And the sequence also, which you will eat first, which you will eat second, third, last, that also you have to maintain. And she got jubilant. Oh, Prabhu, no one taught me about this. Then came the next question. Prabhu, how do I know how much quantity? Is 1 katori of sambar good, or I need 2 katoris of sambar? How do I determine that? How much Lord will eat? I don't know. Then I told her, no, you consider Lord as a youth, around 14, 15 years. How much a youth will eat? That is the quantity you have to maintain. Then she got fully clarified. Okay, Prabhu, that I know this. Now I'm going to make a bhoga offering pakka like this. And next time when I saw, the bhoga offering plate was completely different. Now, see the difference. Earlier, this Mataji was sentimental, enthusiastic, lot of love for the Lord. Everything was good. But methodology and process, she was making a mistake, and it is not the right way to offer to the Lord. So, knowledge in the right context is helping her to increase her devotion service. This is exactly what Prabhupada did. Prabhupada did not teach, tell Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, and then go away. No. He taught what is called as prescriptive guidance, step-by-step guidance. How do you execute devotion service? And this is knowledge. When this knowledge is applied properly, in service of Lord, in service of Vaishnavas, he becomes a Vaishnava. Otherwise, he becomes really theoretical, rules, regulation, okay, this benefit, that's it. No transformation is heart, and no progress in devotion service. Is the example helping you all?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
So now you see, you should really appreciate, wow, the deity ministry, what they're doing, how they're giving us details, and how we should supposed to practice devotion service. You will see them glorious now. And you will become sincere in practicing. Huh? Good?
Prabhu, I have one question, Prabhu. Can I ask Prabhu?
Sure.
Prabhu, in the Puri Jagannath temple, whatever quantity they prepare, entire pot they offer to Jagannath Prabhu. Is that right? Or
No, it's correct, no?
Entire pot.
Yeah. Why it is correct?
Jagannath's mood is different. No, he can eat
Yeah. The Lord declares, I am like eating God. You keep on serving me the way I need to eat. Just like your Govardhan. Right? What did Govardhan demonstrate? How much ever you want, you get to me, I'll eat. So, you should understand, as Jagannath is an eating god, as a Mohini, he is an enchanting god, as a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a dancing god. So, like that, Lord is showing different characteristics under different moods. And you connect with the Lord accordingly. And that's success for you. So, Jagannath mood is this. So, you connect with the Lord accordingly. Krishna?
Yes, Prabhu.
Santa Krishna Prabhu, is it helping you? He's not there. Huh? Okay, he's not there. Oh. Okay, so that is the key here. So hence we have to understand the importance of knowledge. Knowledge and its application. If knowledge is remaining the head, it will only lead to pride. There's no application. But just application without knowledge will lead to a lot of, burden in the heart. So knowledge in the heart and its application will what? Make one to please the Lord. That's key to understand. Okay. So now let's read 768. Someone read?
Text 7.68. Mataji, you can go ahead.
No, Prabhu. Continue, Prabhu. I'll take next.
Sannyasi haya kara ratana dayana bhavuka sabha sange lana kara sankirtana. Translation: you are a sannyasi. Why then do you indulge in chanting and dancing, engaging in your sankirtana movement in the company of fanatics? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is a challenge by Prakashananda Saraswati to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura writes in his Anubhashya that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the object of Vedanta philosophical research, has very kindly determined who is an appropriate candidate for study of Vedanta philosophy. The first qualification of such a candidate is expressed by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sikshastaka. Tunadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadaharihi. This statement indicates that one can hear or speak about Vedanta philosophy through the disciplined succession. One must be very humble and meek, more tolerant than a tree, and more humble than the grass. One should not claim respect for himself, but should be prepared to give all respect to others. One must have these qualifications to be eligible to understand Vedic knowledge. Correction.
Okay, so look at the context now. What's the context? Mahaprabhu is telling, if you want to understand Vedic knowledge or whatever dimension of devotion service, the first quality you have to develop is humility and tolerance. Now, without that, how will you understand? And he knows it. So now he is making him to remember it. So then Prakashana service is thinking, oh, yes, what is true? Otherwise, it cannot go. Let's look at 69. Let 69 read.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, text 69. Vedanta patana dhyana sannyasira dharma taha chadi kara kena bhavo kera karma. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Meditation and the study of Vedanta are the sole duties of a sannyasi. Why do you abandon these to dance with fanatics? Purport. As explained in regard to verse 41, Mayavadi sannyasis do not approve of chanting and dancing. Prakashananda Saraswati, like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, misunderstood Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu to be a misled young sannyasi, and therefore he asked him why he indulged in the association of fanatics instead of executing the duty of a sannyasi. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so it is improper knowledge in their head that is sitting. So hence they're getting confused about chanting and dancing. Now, chanting and dancing is not the primary activity. Chanting and dancing is a result of ecstatic heart outpouring. That love is outpouring, and that results in chanting and dancing. Right? So that they're not able to understand now. Okay, so there is no love of God that they're able to understand. They think dry philosophy. There is no love of God. Love of God, it is something that you throw a ball at, the ball comes back to you. That means you demonstrate great love for Krishna. Krishna demonstrates 100 times more greater love for you, and you nourish that love. Right? That is not tasted by Prakash and Saraswati and the previous Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Okay. Now let's see in 70 what happens. Someone read?
770. Prabhavede kiya toma sakshat narayana hinachara karakene ite ki karana. You look as brilliant as if you were Narayana himself. Will you kindly explain the reason that you have adopted the behavior of lower class people? Purport. Due to renunciation, Vedanta study, meditation, and the strict regulative principles of their daily routine, Mayavadi sannyasis are certainly in a position to execute pious activities. Thus, Prakashananda Saraswati, on account of this piety, could understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not an ordinary person, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sakshat Narayana. He considered him to be Narayana himself. Mayavadi sannyasis addresses one another as Narayana because they think that they are all going to be Narayana or merge with Narayana in the next life. Prakashananda Saraswati appreciated that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had already directly become Narayana and did not
need to wait until next life.
Need to wait until his next life. One difference between the Vaishnavas and Mayavadi philosophies is that Mayavadi philosophers think that after giving up their bodies, they are going to become Narayana by merging with his body. Whereas Vaishnavas philosophers understand that after the body dies, they are going to have transcendental spiritual body in which to associate with Narayana. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So who can explain Mayavada philosophy now? You can explain in simple bulleted format. 3 things, that's all. Please explain.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, try.
No, Prabhu. What I wanted to have one clarification. These Mayavadis, Prabhu, how they are also following the regulative principles and all that, Prabhu, meditation, everything.
Yes.
And even pious activities, Prabhu.
Pious meaning?
Pious means punyakara, jivana.
No, they won't involve in punya karma.
Okay, Prabhu.
But punya karma means the Mayavada sannyasis, the way they do it is actually leading them to punya karma only. There is no love of God. Okay, then?
Okay, Prabhu.
What is the question?
No, question is, I wanted to, it was not clear about how they are they following regulative principles and all that. It was not clear for me. That's why I asked.
Okay. Others, can anyone explain what is Mayavada philosophy now? By now, you should be able to do it. Just come forward, I'll help you.
Atma Paramatma ఒకటే అనేసి తలుస్తారు ప్రభు.
ఆత్మ పరమాత్మ ఒకటే తలచల్ల. ఆత్మ వాడికి ఎప్పుడు జ్ఞానం వస్తుందో వాడు పరమాత్ముడు అవుతాడు.
ఓకే ఓకే.
అర్థమైందా? ఈ ఆత్మ బతికే వరకు ఈ భూలోకంలో ఉంటాడు. బతికి సచ్చినాక ఈ ఆత్మ అట్లే పరమాత్ముడితో మర్జ్ అయిపోతాడు, జాయింట్ అయిపోతాడు.
అంటే పరమాత్మలో లీనమైపోతాడనే ప్రభు.
లీనమైపోతాడు. వాడి ఐడెంటిటీ అని చెప్తాం కదా, అంతా వాడికి ఒక రూపం, ఒక క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్, గుణ అని చెప్తాం. అదన్నీ పోయేసి వాడు పరమాత్మతో మర్జ్ అయిపోతాడు అంటాడు.
ఓకే ప్రభు.
కరెక్ట్? క్లియర్ అయిందా?
ఎస్ ప్రభు.
Okay.
Prabhu, also they consider each other as Narayana themselves, Prabhu.
Okay. So what does that mean?
That means they are thinking they are one of the Narayana.
Sir, now they are applying the same philosophy to Krishna. So Krishna was born like an ordinary child, like any other human being, but he realized himself, so he became Narayana. Okay? He became Narayana later on. So that's what they're saying. Now, Krishna from the birth, day one of his birth, he exhibited godly qualities. Mathura. Krishna was not born through labor pain from the stomach of Mother Devaki. He just manifested, and that too 400 form with full of jewels, that this opulence fully he manifested with that. Right? So it's not a question of realization. There's no realization. He's God. All the time he's God. And we are not God, and all the time we are not God. That's the point. Is it clear?
Yes,
Prabhuji, that means after that death of Mayavadis, they will not be having separate identification, Prabhu.
Yeah. So what is this Brahman effulgence? Remember, Brahman effulgence is white light. Okay. So now let's say there's a large amount of light in it. You just go to a desert in a sunny day. Large amount of light everywhere you see. Okay. So now you fire a small candle or switch on a small torch light. You will see the torch is not even burning.
Yes, Prabhu.
Now, this is how they conclude. But what they fail to understand is this torchlight or this matchstick, which is being burnt in the desert, is having its own identity still. That they fail to understand. Hence, it has an identity. It cannot merge with that sunlight 100%. It remains, what is it? So similarly, we as Jivatma, servants, will remain as servants forever. Even though we may go back home. Prabhupada say, oh, you will go back to Godhead. You will become part of Krishna. That's what this means. Your identity will continue to be maintained. Okay? So Maya, none of you still answering. Who's going to answer? We'll get you a spiritual chocolate. Too much of sound. No, Mataji, too much echo.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, Mataji.
Now, Prabhu.
Okay, better. Tell me, Mataji. What is the Mayavadi philosophy?
Prabhu, Mayavadi philosophy is, first of all, they don't believe in the personal future of the Lord. They think it's the impersonal light only is the absolute truth.
Okay.
And when Krishna came down, they thought that he is an ordinary human being under the control of the Maya. Hence, they are called as Mayavadis. And they think that once
they think Krishna is also product of Maya. Okay.
Once they come out, they stop the material activities and come out of the influence of Maya. They also become Narayana, and after their death, they merge with Narayana. So that is spiritual suicide. Whereas Vaishnava philosophy is, we think achintya beda beda. We have Atma, we have same quality as the Lord, but quantity is less. And after that, if we are liberated, we go back and we continue to serve the Lord.
Lord. Here also we are serving, there also we are going to serve.
Personal form of the Lord, we believe.
Okay. Okay, good. Any other point about Mayavadi? Mayavadi thinks only knowledge is ultimate. But what did Prabhupada teach us? Devotional service is ultimate. Right? So you see the difference. Okay, 71. Who's going to read 71?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Text 7.71. प्रभु कहे सुना श्रीपादा इहर कारण Guru more murka deki karila sasana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied to Prakashananda Saraswati, my dear sir, kindly hear the reason my spiritual master considered me a fool and therefore the chastised me. Purport. When Prakashananda Saraswati inquired from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu why he neither studied Vedanta nor performed meditation, Lord Chaitanya presented himself as a number one fool in order to indicate that the present age Kali Yuga in Kali Yuga is an age of fools and rascals in which it is not possible to obtain perfection simply by reading Vedanta philosophy and meditating the Shastras strongly recommended. Harennama Harennamaiva Kevalam Kalai Nastaiva Gatiranyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only mean of deliverance is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. People in general in Kali Yuga are so fallen that it is not possible for them to obtain perfection simply by studying the Vedanta Sutra. One should therefore seriously take to the constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so what's the meaning here? So let's go back a little bit. So Prakashananda Saraswati is thinking high study of knowledge, Vedanta, the most complicated, most topmost. That's what you have to do, nothing else. Okay, he thinks like that. Now he's inquiring Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why are you like this? He says, my spiritual master, Keshav Bharati Maharaj, he told me, you're a fool number one. What do you understand about creation? What do you understand about Vedic sciences? What do you understand about God? You don't know. You're fool number one. So don't waste time in reading the Shastra. Instead, chant the holy name and beg his mercy. See how Mahaprabhu is telling that Prakashananda Saraswati, you and your team are fool number one, not me. That's what he's trying to tell them. You have to just do what? Hare Nama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. That's what you have to chant. Nothing else. Huh? Is this clear? So Mahaprabhu indirectly is telling Prakash, you're fool number one because that's what my spiritual master told me. Okay. Now let's read 7.72. Who's going to read?
72.
Murka tumi tomara nahika Vedanta dikara Krishna mantra japa sada yehi mantra sara. You are a fool, he said. You are not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy and therefore you must always chant the holy name of Krishna. This is the essence of all mantras or Vedic hymns. Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaja comments in this connection, one can become perfectly successful in the mission of his life if he acts exactly according to the words he hears from the mouth of his spiritual master. This acceptance of the words of the spiritual master is called Shrauta Vakya, which indicates that the disciple must carry out the spiritual master's instructions without deviation. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura remarks in this connection that a disciple must accept the words of his spiritual master as his life and soul. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here confirms this by saying that since his spiritual master ordered him only to chant the holy name of Krishna, he always chanted the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra according to this direction. Krishna Mantra Japa Sada, Yei Mantra Sara. Krishna is the origin of everything. Therefore, when a person is fully Krishna conscious, it is to be understood that his relationship with Krishna has been fully confirmed. Lacking Krishna consciousness, one is only partially related with Krishna and is therefore not in his constitutional position. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the spiritual master of the entire universe, he nevertheless took the position of a disciple in order to teach by example how a devotee should strictly follow the orders of a spiritual master in executing the duty of always chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. One who is very much attracted to the study of Vedanta philosophy must take lessons from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this age, no one is actually competent to study Vedanta, and therefore it is better that one chant the holy name of the Lord, which is the essence of all Vedic knowledge, as Krishna himself confirms in the Bhagavad Gita 15.15, Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Only fools give up the service of the spiritual master and think themselves advanced in spiritual knowledge. In order to check such fools, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself presented the perfect example of how to be a disciple. A spiritual master knows very well how to engage each disciple in a particular duty, but if a disciple, thinking himself more advanced than his spiritual master, gives up his orders and acts independently, he checks his own spiritual progress. Every disciple must consider himself completely unaware of the signs of Krishna and must always be ready to carry out the orders of the spiritual master to become competent in Krishna consciousness. A disciple should always remain a fool before his spiritual master. Therefore, sometimes pseudo-spiritualists accept a spiritual master who is not even fit to become a disciple because they want to keep him under their control. This is useless for spiritual realization.
Okay, so we'll give a chance to someone.
Yeah.
Someone else wants to read?
Prabhuji, here Vedanta philosophy has been that is told, Prabhu. That means the essence of Vedas and the knowledge of Vedas has to be understood, no, Prabhu? Vedanta philosophy means.
Correct. So when you understand the Vedic knowledge,
following the injunctions,
practical application of Vedic knowledge, then you will see it's all about surrendering and serving to the Supreme Lord Krishna. There's nothing else.
Okay.
If you're able to conclude that.
Okay.
Able to conclude that, then you will be able to see Krishna as the conclusion or the end point and the starting point of the Veda Shastra.
Oh, yes, Prabhu.
That's what is being spoken here.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, others? Who wants to comment?
Prabhu, here 4 things are told, how a disciple should take spiritual master's instructions.
Yes.
That is covered in the first paragraph.
Okay.
And then Prabhupada is telling the importance of chanting Maha Mantra in this Kali Yuga age. The qualification is not there for us to understand the Vedanta. And next is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the disciple position. Even though he's Supreme Personality of the Godhead, why he's taking devotee position to explain the importance and how Maha Mantra should be.
Role model by practical demonstration. Okay.
And here in last thing, I think so, it is told why chanting is better than studying Vedanta. Because by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you're actually knowing the Lord himself, which Lord tells Vedescha Sarvaiham Vedyo. So the purpose is served.
Now I'll take that point. Lord says, Vedescha Sarvais Ahameva Vedyo. Then I'll read a Vedanta Sutra to understand you, Lord. So what is wrong?
The intelligence is not there with us in this age.
And my spiritual master is told, you are a fool number 1, so don't try to you know,
Expertise you also.
correct, not give expertise into the subject matter. That is not the need of the hour. Need of the hour is chant the holy name of the Lord. Hence, I am doing it. Okay, good. Good explanation. Anyone else wants to add any points to what has been discussed?
Prabhu, also one more point, a disciple should never think that he knows more better than his spiritual master. He will follow.
Yeah, so that's why the first line itself, it says, my spiritual master tells that I am fool number one. Since I am fool number one, I don't read the Vedanta. I only chant the holy name, which is easiest for me, and realize got it. See, he hit the bullseye. Okay. Now let's read the next 2-3 paragraphs. Who wants to read? How many paragraphs? Okay. Yeah, who wants to read this? All?
I'll read, Prabhu.
Yeah, read, Mataji.
From one who imperfectly knows, no, Prabhu?
Yes.
Okay. One who imperfectly knows Krishna consciousness cannot know Vedanta philosophy. A short display of Vedanta study without Krishna consciousness is a feature of the external energy, Maya, and as long as one is attracted by the inabilities of this ever-changing material energy, he deviates from devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. An actual follower of Vedanta philosophy is a devotee of Lord Vishnu, who is the greatest of the great and the maintainer of the entire universe. Unless one surpasses the field of activities in service to the limited, one cannot reach the unlimited. Knowledge of the unlimited is actual Brahma Jnana, or knowledge of the Supreme. Those who are addicted to fruitive activities and speculative knowledge cannot understand the value of the holy name of Lord Krishna, which is always completely pure, eternally liberated, and full of spiritual bliss. One who has taken shelter of the holy name of the Lord, which is identical with the Lord, does not have to study Vedanta philosophy, for he has already completed all such study. Hare Krishna.
Fantastic. See, beautiful summary about why you are chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Okay, someone else, can we read another paragraph?
I'll read, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
One who is unite to chant the
Unfit to chant.
One who is unfit to chant the holy name of Krishna, but thinks that the holy name is different from Krishna and thus takes shelter of Vedanta study in order to understand him, must be considered a number one fool. As confirmed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by his personal behavior and philosophical speculators who wants to make Vedanta philosophy an academic career, are also considered to be within the material energy. A person who always chants the holy name of the Lord, however, is already behind the ocean of nuisance, and thus even a person born in a low family who engage in chanting the holy name
of the Lord
is considered to be behind the study of Vedanta philosophy. In this connection, Srimad Bhagavatam 3.33.7 states,
Aho bata swapachoto garyan yajjiva grahe vartate namatubhyam te pustapaste juhuvu sansnurarya brahmanochur nama granantiyete.
if a person born in family of dog eater takes to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna, it is to be understood that in his previous life, he must have executed all kinds of austerities and penances and performed all the Vedic yajnas. Another quotation states,
Rigvedota yajurvedaha samavedopi atarvanaha aditastena yenoktam haririti aksharadvayam.
person who chants the two syllables Hari has already studied the four Vedas, Samaveda, Rigveda, Yajurveda, and Atharvana Veda. Taking advantage of these verses, there are some Sahajiyas who taking everything very cheaply, consider themselves elevated Vaishnavas, but do not care even to touch the Vedanta Sutra or Vedanta philosophy. A real Vaishnava should, however, study Vedanta philosophy but if after studying Vedanta one does not adopt the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, he is no better than a Mayavadi.
Because he's not
Therefore,
able to conclude Krishna out of the Vedanta Sutra. Okay. Yes, Madhuri.
therefore one should not be a Mayavadi, yet one should not be unaware of the subject matter of Vedanta philosophy.
Philosophy.
Caitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited
His knowledge of Vedanta.
his knowledge of Vedanta in his discourses with Prakashananda Saraswati. Thus, it is to be understood that Vaishnava should become completely conversant with Vedanta philosophy. Yet, he should not think that studying Vedanta is all in all and therefore be unattached to the chanting of the holy name. A devotee must know the importance of simultaneously understanding Vedanta philosophy and chanting of holy names. If the study, yes, Prabhu?
Correct, Mataji. Go ahead.
If by studying Vedanta one becomes an impersonalist, he has not been able to understand Vedanta. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 15.15. Vedanta means the end of knowledge. The ultimate end of knowledge is knowledge of Krishna, who is identical with his holy name. Cheap Vaishnavas, Sahajiyas, do not care to study the Vedanta philosophy as commented upon by the four acharyas. In the Gaudiya Sampradaya, there is Vedanta commentary called the Govinda Bhashya. But the Sahajiyas consider
such commentaries
such speculation, and they consider the acharyas to be mixed devotees. Thus, they clear their way to hell.
Clear the way to hell. So, Veda Anta. Anta means end. Vedanta means knowledge, the end of knowledge. Okay, so what's the second part here? What do we understand of this? The first point is, when someone doesn't take shelter of Krishna directly, instead he takes shelter of all other things, he is influenced by Mahamaya, he is not influenced by Yogamaya. That means he's still living in the material world. He is not getting spiritualized. So that's the first aspect of you have to understand. Now, he says, all Vedanta philosophists are devotees, or vice versa, all devotees must know the Vedanta philosophy. Why? Because the conclusion of Vedanta philosophy is to understand Krishna, and when you understand Krishna, you serve him with love. So that's how he is blending the Vedanta philosophy and practice of devotion. So someone who's practicing Krishna Bhakti on a regular basis, he's considered someone who has learned all the Vedanta Sutra or all the Vedic knowledge. Secondly, he is considered someone who has completed all the austerities that are required for a human being in his previous birth. So in this birth, if he's just chanting the name of Krishna, Hari, then he needs to go on doing it. There's nothing else that he will take back to the spiritual world or anything like that. So that's the most important aspect. So chanting the holy name is far superior than studying the Vedanta Sutra. Because Lord says, if anyone is chanting the holy name of the Lord, he has been embedded with all the knowledge, all the austerities that needs to be done, and he needs to just complete the journey of human life. That's the point that's been mentioned here. And he is warning, don't speculate, don't be a commentator, don't smudge it to make own things. Because you want to make a career and a life and earning money out of all these actions. He says, don't do that. Right? So this is how Mahaprabhu is trying to explain Prakashananda Saraswati whether one should read Vedanta philosophy or not. And if he's reading Vedanta philosophy, what should be his conclusion, what should be his understanding, and what should be his follow-through action and behavior. Right? So this is the whole point. He gives an example of dog eater. What does he say in dog eater? A person who's been eating dog, for him, you give this taste of Vedanta philosophy, he can become a first-class Brahmin. Right? So, you see how Mahaprabhu is completely chastising or maybe making Prakashananda Saraswati to understand the whole thing. Hare Krishna?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
I hope you all didn't go to sleep.
No, no, Prabhu. We are all
Prabhu,
enjoying,
here,
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Here they have mentioned about 4 acharyas, Prabhu. Who are they?
Which are the 4 acharyas?
Srila Prabhu. Srila Bhakti.
What are you trying to say? What is the question?
Here, the cheap Vaishnavas do not care to study the Vedanta philosophy as commented upon by the 4 acharyas. It is mentioned.
4 acharyas, the 4 sampradayas.
Okay, thank you.
Right? So, Sri Sampradaya represented by Ramanujacharya. Brahma Sampradaya is represented by Brahma Madhava Gaudiya. That means refers to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Madhvacharya. Then Nimbarka philosophy is represented by Vallabhacharya and the 4 Kumaras. Then Vishnu Swami, he is the Acharya who is representing the Shiva Sampradaya or Rudra Sampradaya. So these 4 Acharyas, 4 Sampradayas.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhu, actually you told today's class is a little difficult, but you made it very interesting and enjoyable, Prabhu. And there was a collective effort by everyone also, no, Prabhu.
Yeah, good. If you all enjoy, if you all understood this, is very cool. So now we'll just summarize this. So Mahaprabhu demonstrated humility to attract the Mayavadis, because at the end of the day, he wants to deliver the Mayavadis, right? So he demonstrated humility and increases effulgence so that Mayavadis are attracted. Okay. Now, once there was humility, the Mayavadis also mellowed down and they're showing compassion to Mahaprabhu. Hey, why? What happened to you? They start to inquire. And that time, Mahaprabhu takes the opportunity. What does he say? Oh, it is not that I'm just chanting and dancing just like that. My spiritual master told me, just chant the names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. In Kali Yuga, why? In Kali Yuga, your intelligence is less, your memory is less, and your lifespan is also very short. So given all these limited things, he said, just chant the name of the Lord. Why? He said, you're a fool number 1. So just chant that. Now, when I'm chanting that much, and this is the details about the Vedanta Sutra, why should I spend time in reading that? Why? Low lifespan, shorter memory, lesser intelligence, and not able to understand from a bona fide guru. So when all these things are true, why should I waste my time reading Vedanta philosophy? Instead, I'll just chant holy name. Okay. So now it hit Prakashananda Saraswati. It touched his heart. So now what is he going to do? He says, okay, when you chant the holy name of the Lord, what benefit do you get? So now Mahaprabhu is going to explain ecstatic love for God. So that's how Mahaprabhu is trying to take them away into personal aspects of one's life rather than just saying Mayavadi, nothing, just effulgence, light, and then merge with it. So he's giving whole spectrum by making him understand. So we'll stop here. The next class is about chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And Mahaprabhu is going to talk about how that Hare Krishna mantra has taste in it. How it can demonstrate the greatest, it can actually reveal the greatest truth about oneself. How it can do that. So Mahaprabhu is going to teach that in the next class that we will discuss to Prakashananda Saraswati. Now, after understanding this, Prakashananda Saraswati is going to start to think, oh, what he says is true. Now, First is theory, then practical. Then after all this theory is done, Mahaprabhu will straightaway go to Bindu Madhava temple in Varanasi, and he will perform one of the most ecstatic kirtan ever performed by Mahaprabhu. Then see what happens. That's the conclusion of this. Yeah, of course, there's some more details where Mahaprabhu is trying to explain what is the glory of this Hare Krishna mantra. Why you should take shelter of that rather than taking shelter of Vedanta Sutra. Right? Good?
Yes, Prabhu. Very good.
Okay. Thank you so much for all your association. So tomorrow we're going to start Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1. So, Pawan Prabhu, are you going to publicize?
Yes, Prabhuji. I'll send the Zoom link.
Yeah, Zoom link, but you have to educate people about start of Canto 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah, I'll mention in the message.
Yeah. So that way people can know it and then they can actually speak correctly. I mean, understand it. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Very good. So, see you all tomorrow morning. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Caitanya ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai, Nitai Gaur ke Premanande. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Tat Sat.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Good weekend. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.